Alright, good morning everybody. Mike here, Northeastern Dirt Property Maintenance. It's a chilly one up here. We've got a good Arctic blast, man, and it's sitting right on top of us right now. And it was cold. It was cold last night. Probably, it said minus 20 last night when I was checking, so right now it's supposed to be a high of minus 14 today during the day. And as you can see, I've started carving into this firewood pile. I did some yesterday. I'll show you over here what I got set up. Stacking wise, I had the splitter here. And I left everything here last night. It was all going good till I came out this morning and tried starting it in the minus 20. And here's what I ended up with. The old pull cord in my hand and the splitter not running. So that cord there is original cord on that Honda. And 25-year-old cord probably, whatever. And anyway, pulling that Honda over this morning, she was cold. She did not like that minus 20, and that's how it ended up, puking the cord out, and that's where I got stuck. So it's back in the shop, and I'm working on this pile. So instead of pounding T-bars in the ground like I did last year on the ends beside the C can, I decided we'll just make something a little simpler and hopefully a little bit better. Not a big deal. I just cut a couple 2x4s on the ends and strap this skid in there. So now we're going to stack it against skids, no T-bars, because when that ground got soft in the spring, the T-bars I had nice and straight here, the ground got soft, and all that wood and all that force and weight and pressure, it just pushed the T-bars over and it just looked messy. I was trying to push it back, straighten the pile up, it just turned out like shit. So hopefully strapping this, the 2x4 bracing on the outside with these skids should be good. And last year I had 19 cord to split and stack here because I resplit all that wood I get. So I resplit it, set it here 19 cord. This year I got about 9 to 10 cord because I figure I'm going to have some left over in the shed. And then I'm going to get a little bit more firewood this summer toward the fall and add it to this. So probably got 9 or 10 cord there on the truckload coming in, and that's where I am. I'll get that set up, split, but I can't do shit because I got the cord in my pocket. So we'll go over to the shop. Oh, and I will say this setup works really, really good in the summertime. That sun is beating down constantly on the side of the sea container and that firewood, so it's just cooking. Spring, summer, and fall, it's got sunlight on it the bulk of the day till that sun sets in the west over here. And of course, as you can see, the firewood sits up off the ground. I don't want any wicking from the ground on the firewood, so I put it up on skids, and it works good. You get airflow all the way around it, and it works pretty good. So let's go. We have this beauty in here this morning, and I can't complain. I cannot complain at all about this log splitter or breakdowns. Like I said in a previous video, whatever, a year or two ago, I bought this log splitter on an insurance deal. Impaired driver ran off the highway in southern Ontario and ran into a whole fleet of Kubota tractors and equipment at the Kubota dealer where I always done business. So I went in there and I seen this thing all bent up. I seen the boom on a couple Kubotas all bent up, tractors, because the dealership was right on the edge of the highway and they had no guardrail there, and a car could easily come off the highway when you're drunk and crash into Kubotas. So that's what this guy did, and he messed up quite a few tractors, actually, damage to a lot of stuff. Well, this was in it. So, and here comes MJ.
Do you want a coffee?
Okay, please. Thanks. So anyway, this was in the pile of smashed up equipment, this thing here. I paid $900 for this many, many years ago, 25 years ago, and I didn't care. $900. It was a 22-ton splitter, and from what I see over the years, it's a real 22-ton splitter too. This thing here splits pretty much anything that you can throw at it, really, and I've had nothing but good luck. But over the years, through use, it had a 5.5 Tecumseh motor on it, ran like a champ, nothing wrong with it, but I came onto this Honda GC 160 for nothing, and it was brand new. So I thought, I'm going to take the Tecumseh off and put on the Honda. So for the hell of it, I switched them out and recoupled that 2-stage Barnes pump down there, log splitter pump, and put it on the Honda. and a good splitter end. That's one thing I did have to do though. I did change the tires anyway because the rim was bent on this side where it got hit. It completely bent the rim and the spindle. So I put new rubber and new rims on this, and I'm glad I did because the other ones were much thinner. These are a much wider profile tire, and they just seem to handle and steer a lot easier when you're pushing it around by hand. So anyway, that's the story of the splitter. This Cub Cadet splitter has been a hell of a good splitter. I can't complain at all. So, in order to get that recoil off right there, I had to take the base bolts out. I left the suction and pressure side hoses connected. I just slipped it over. But there's like, that's never been off. That's like 20 years of accumulation, and they're rubbing on that plastic on that engine. Tolerances are super tight in there. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull out them bolts. I'm going to take that recoil off of there and have a little look. And there's probably shit and accumulated junk inside there anyway, plus I want to clean this out. That hasn't been cleaned for years. Ever, never. And probably another thing that I'm going to do while I'm down here fooling around anyway with this Honda today, once I get it going, I'm going to change the oil. Again, on this small engine, this Honda, shame on me. Can't remember when I changed the oil. I have no idea. I don't know if I've ever changed the oil in this thing. I probably did, but I can't remember. So we'll just clean this shit out that's behind here. And this log splitter, I can't even imagine. I don't know how many cord of firewood this log splitter split in its life. Because like I said, I used to leave this log splitter in the bush in southern Ontario where I was cutting firewood. Long time, several years. I just left it in there for the landowner where I was cutting. And where he was cutting, we just left it there under a tarp. And then he would use it whenever he wanted. And I said, no problem, I would leave it there for him. And he cut a ton of wood. So did I, out of the same bush. So he would let me cut firewood. He used a log splitter. We had a deal going. And it just worked good. Okay, so that's all cleaned out in there. And like I said, this is a Honda GC 160 5 horse. And it's been a good motor. They are not the heavy-duty version by any means, these Hondas. In fact, I believe they've got a synthetic timing belt in them, as where the GX motors don't have a synthetic timing belt in them. I don't think they got a rubber timing belt. This guy's got a rubber timing belt, so he could go for a shit and that would be the end of him. And probably not even worth fixing them. You scrap them. So I'm going to end up taking these bolts out and we'll pull this off. I tell you, kind of laughable what I wouldn't give right now for a nice heated shop. Oh my God. And another thing I'll assure you, something's going to change with the shop situation and the repair area like I'm in now. This shop is a great storage area. I love keeping my stuff inside as best as I can. But I refuse to pay the price to have it spray foamed and a proper door put on it and just finish it properly. I refuse to spend that money. I don't live in this shop. I just store equipment in the shop. And like I said, for winter time on weather like this, it's a pain in the ass for sure. Nothing better than a heated shop, for sure. But I refuse to spend the money. So next year, by this time next year, I can guarantee you something is going to change. So I'm thinking about one of those Amish style sheds where they bring it in on the big truck and roll it right off on the pad. Already built, no pissing around, because I got other things I got to do anyway in life versus building a 32 or 40-foot shed. And let's face it, I probably can't build it as good as those guys anyway. I probably could build it in here like I did the greenhouse and drag it outside, but I can't really be bothered. As I get older, maybe I get lazier, or just maybe I want convenience. Whatever it is, The Amish sheds are nice. They come in, they wheel them on a truck. And I would have to get a permit for this building because I'm not going to fool around. If I'm going to buy one of those Amish sheds pre-built, I'm going to buy a big bastard. I'm not going to piss around with some 20-footer. I'm going to go at least 30 feet to 32 feet long, whatever. And I'm going to get the 12-foot wide one. So you're looking at, 360 to 400 square feet in that building to work inside or heat or have a sit-down area and a shed, whatever. Because I believe, building code-wise, once you get to 492, I believe, you have to have a proper foundation. Once you hit that 492 square foot mark, you have to have a proper, rigid foundation, and that's what they want to see. So he basically said stay under 492, I believe, and I can bring in the portable building. It's going to be on 5 6x6 runners because I'm going to get the heavy duty shed one where you can drive a snowmobile inside, you can drive side-by-sides, even my B26 Kubota, you can drive it in there, and I'm going to have a wood stove in there, and I'm going to have a sitting area in there, and proper lighting, insulation, and it's going to be a nice little... So that money that I spend on that building, theoretically, probably would be the same as completely finishing this building, I would say, with spray foam and a $5,000 door and all that. But you know what? With the small shed, it's got windows in it. I can detail it the way I want, and I can even keep some hunting equipment out there. It'll be kind of a hunting, storage, work area shed. It's going to be a nice little shed. But anyway, that's not the topic of this video, but who cares? All right, so there we go. We got that off there. Now I got to go to town to the small engine shop and I got to get some cord. So I'll go get that and be back. All right. So I went back to town and I got myself a new pull cord. So hopefully now this one will last a couple decades like the last one. So anyway, I got the recoil wound against the spring. And she's wound right up tight, and then I backed it off one revolution, and I fed the rope through. So theoretically, when I get the knot in this and the handle on here, when I let go of this pair of vice grip clamps, it should suck that rope all the way in. And hopefully I've got it wound tight enough so when I pull it, it pulls it all the way back in. I'm sure not an expert at this stuff, but she told me in the small engine shop, you generally want your recoil rope an arm's length. That's what she told me, so I took an arm's length. So I've got that knot nested right in there. Hopefully it's not too big of a knot, but we'll see. Put the handle on, a couple more knots. Got the handle on. Okay. And there we go. We got our new pull cord on there. And that's it. Now we'll go put it back on. And there is a rubber isolation pad between this motor and that motor mounting base. I've got a thin piece of rubber in there. just so it's not aluminum on steel for vibration. All the base bolts are in, recoil's put back on there. Now let's see if we can get this thing going. She's hard to turn over. I don't know if that thing ran out of gas or just stalled on me, but it is low on fuel, so we'll add a little bit of fuel. And try to keep that from going inside there. All right, so I mixed up a little batch of fuel here with that K100, and I refueled that splitter right there. Whether it ran out of gas or stalled, who knows, but we'll fire it up, get this thing moving, and then we got to split some wood. Once it warms up, it tends to smoothen out a little bit, and then away you go. All right, you guys. Got that splitter all fixed up. Working like a champ. Hopefully it'll run for another decade and a half or whatever it'll be. And I'm just going to finish stacking up this wood here. And it turned out to be a beautiful afternoon. Absolutely crisp and cold up here in Northeast Ontario. So thanks for tuning in. I'll keep working on this, and I'm going to chisel away at this pile for the next week and a half, and should have her done. Thanks for tuning in.